Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.
Have you ever fought evil by the pale moonlight? Well, if you haven't, you might be in the wrong place. Honestly, I have no idea how you got here or how you can get back to where you want to be, so you may as well stay and enjoy part 2 of my Sailor Moon The Dark Kingdom arc retrospective. Last time, I briefly explained what Sailor Moon was about and spent most of the video saying a few words about every one of these neon nuggets. Now let's dig into the overall plot. Before I start, Sailor Moon is padded like luxury toilet paper. Not that I'd know what that's like.
Oh well, ooh-la-dee-da. I'm sorry brown paper towels aren't good enough for you.
The point is, I'm not going over 40 episodes of a Monster of the Week show. Just gonna hit the high points. The pilot kicks off with Jane Q. Public, aka Serena, rescuing a cat from some punk kids. After school, Serena and her friend Molly stop by her family's shop, where prices are so low, they're insane.
Are you insane?!
Spoiler, this is part of Jedi's evil plan, so bad stuff happens to Molly. But it's okay, because the cat from before is actually one of those magic mentor thingies, and she gives Serena the power to transform into Sailor Moon. Then, after kind of a touch-and-go moment, the day is saved. Then there's some filler. The next noteworthy event happens when a new student shows up at the school, a brainy nerdette named Amy. After it turns out that Amy's extra credit class is actually a front for Jedi and his energy theft scheme, Amy is given the power to transform into Sailor Mercury, and she racks up another win for the Scouts. Mars is the next Sailor Scout to join the team when Jedi starts kidnapping tourists from her local shrine. After some pre-mission whininess,
sign of things to come,
Sailor Moon and Mars travel to Jedi's pocket dimension to rescue the tourists. Then it's time for the final showdown against the first Negaverse commander. Obviously the Scouts win, or it would be a really short series.
Damn it.
The next Negaverse heavy hitter is Nephlite. Now, as much as the dude has major swagger, there's no real practical change on a per-episode basis. That is, until the big galoot falls for Molly. Hi, I'm Maxfield Stanton, millionaire tennis instructor. Is Molly home? Hello, Maxfield. I'm Chris Hansen. Could you sit down right over there? This leads to Nephlite turning on the rest of the Dark Kingdom. His last episode, A Friend in Wolf's Clothing, is one of the best in the season.
Nephlite makes one mistake. Not taking that head off.
By the end, I was sad to see him go. I think he could have pulled a Vegeta pretty darn well. Next up at bat for the Negaverse is Zoisite, and the hunt for the rainbow crystals is on. Alright, background info time. To end the war with Queen Beryl, Serenity the White used the power of the Silver Millennium Crystal to imprison the 7 most destructive Negaverse monsters. The Silver Millennium Crystal then shattered into 7 different technicolored pieces containing one of the destructive monsters apiece. The shards are then scattered all over the world.
A veritable rainbow of wanton genocide,
where they're then, somehow, reincarnated into 6 poor schmucks and a cat. So it's a 3-way race between the Sailor Scouts, the Dark Kingdom, and Tuxedo Mask, all vying for the Silver Crystal. The next big event is the appearance of the 4th Sailor Scout, Jupiter.
How shocking.
Followed by a slew of filler. The next big event after that is the Zoisite-Malachite Evil Plan couples team-up.
Because no one demanded it.
This is also the first appearance of the last and most personality-deficient scout, Venus. From there, the hits just keep on coming, with a 2-parter that completes the Rainbow Crystal story arc, introduces evil Prince Darien, and leaves Malachite single. Aww. Oh yeah, and Sailor Moon gets that all-powerful silver crystal thingy. Now this is where the show really ramps into high gear, for a number of reasons. The Scouts are all together, Malachite's plans tend to be less predictable than the other heavies, and the additional wrinkle of Evil Tuxedo Mask. This all leads up to the final showdown between the Scouts and Queen Beryl. Now I'm issuing a massive spoiler warning.
Spoiling a show that originally aired in the mid-90s. For shame.
In the previous Backstory-tastic episode, the Sailor Scouts discovered the location of the Negaverse's big portal of evil.
That's completely different from their big portal of indifference.
So the girls set out to show that prehistoric how they do things in Brooklyn, but Queen Beryl has a welcome committee all ready for them. The Doom and Gloom Girls. 5 life-size Tinkerbells with shape-shifting powers and bad attitudes.
Say it with me now. I don't believe in fairies.
This is another episode that got chopped up and put back together by editor von Frankenstein. In fact, it used to be 2 episodes. Another big change, in the fighting with the D&D girls as they were called, 4 out of the 5 scouts get real dead. That's right, real dead. But it's okay because each one of the scouts manages to take out at least one of the Psycho Pixies. But the kill of the day has to go to Sailor Venus.
Venus Crescent Beam!
Holy moly, right in the face. Damn, I could start to like this show.
Until it's down to Sailor Moon, who's face to face with Queen Beryl. But the Dark Queen has one last dirty trick up her non-existent sleeve. Prince Darien, her ace in the hole. But it wouldn't be a kid's show if the forces of darkness weren't foiled by the power of love. So Queenie takes a long stem rose right to the heart. Ugh, wouldn't want to pull that out. The thorns. Unfortunately, it's not over quite yet. Queen Metalia, remember her, gives Queen Beryl an overcharge, turning her into a cross between Emperor Palpatine and the 50-foot woman. But the powers of darkness are prone to last episode failures, so the good guys win and the bad guys get blasted back to the Negaverse. Or just die. It's very unclear. Like I was saying, this episode went through some major revisions, like how in the original Japanese, Queen Beryl got possessed by Metalia, and then there's the wholesale slaughter of 14-year-old superheroines that just wasn't gonna fly on American television. Here the scouts just got captured, wink wink, by the Doom and Gloom girls, and then were released at the end after contracting amnesia. But you know what's worse than copping out on a character death? Killing your characters only to bring them back next season. And now it's time for my final thoughts.
He's got more than one.
Unicron, help us all.
I find the world of Sailor Moon kind of oddly fascinating. The combination of slapping an American name on everything, combined with the show's own aesthetic choices, creates this weird kind of East-West hybrid. I mean, just look at the Scouts. They're ostensibly all Japanese, but they look much more, shall we say, polynational. This actually ties into another kind of weird thing about Sailor Moon. The Sailor Scouts seem to have the worst superhero disguises ever. Guys like Venom and the Hulk probably have the best because after they transform, they're not even recognizably human. Batman and Wolverine are pretty good because it could almost be anyone under their mask. But even Superman, the gold standard for bad superhero disguises, is still better than Sailor Moon. At least he has glasses. Just watch this scene.
What makes you think my name is Amy?
Ooh, let me field that one. Greg has both known you and had a crush on you for many years, you're sitting 3 feet away from him, and you're dressed in a pretty princess version of your school uniform. Elbow-length gloves and a tiara are not a disguise. To be fair, they try and explain it in the show, but it's much better illustrated in shows like Witch or the live-action Sailor Moon. Basically, how it works is when the Sailor Scouts transform, they go from ordinary-looking teenage girls to supermodel superheroes. The live-action version of Sailor Moon, despite having a budget that makes Power Rangers look like Avatar by comparison, still gets this point across.
Lazy animators.
Lastly, you may have heard that they're planning a reboot of Sailor Moon. Originally slated for 2013, it's been pushed back to 2014. If and when this new show becomes a reality, and then gets brought over stateside, I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. And there are a few things I hope are included or changed when the new Sailor Moon finally becomes a reality. First, like I just said, I think it would be a really good idea to have the Scouts have different models when in civilian form. Another thing I would really like to see are some different skill sets, because honestly, all 5 of the Scouts pretty much just fire a different flavored elemental version of magic missile.
Except Mercury, who fires Jack Diddley.
If you want my personal recommendation for who should have what role, tank, rogue, ranger, cleric, mage.
Nerd.
In the Dark Kingdom arc, the only Scout who really stands out ability-wise is Mercury, the tech expert. All the Scouts have different attitudes and personalities.
Except Venus.
Except Venus. Why not give them unique combat styles as well? And that leads me to the last change I'd like to see in the new Sailor Moon. I want to see the villains step up their game. In the Dark Kingdom arc in Sailor Moon, there were a couple of decent plans, evil Prince Darien being the highlight, and most of the lieutenants have at least one good idea. They just need to go a little bit further. Maybe change it up, something other than throwing a new monster at the Scouts once a week.
Release the Kraken!
The show does a good job of flushing out the personalities of QB's flunkies. Why not spend a little time on their motivations? I'm not asking for Magneto here, but a little more would be nice. Oh, and I am endlessly impressed by the ability of Sailor Moon's world to produce cheesy merch based on vigilantes. I mean, there's a Sailor V video game, a Sailor V animated movie, and look, Sailor Mercury plushies! So to sum it all up, there's a reason why Sailor Moon is the quintessential example of a magical girl anime. There are allegedly better shows in the genre, but Sailor Moon really defined it. I recommend Sailor Moon for anyone who's a fan of shoujo anime, cheesy superheroes, or fun. Thank you for watching. I'm the Stupid Private.
That's all, folks.